My name's Jim Laird. I've been coaching people for almost 35 years now, between in person and online. The biggest thing I see holding people back is just consistency, just compliance. We're going to talk a little bit about food today, and I think the internet makes things so complicated. The key to this is simplicity and doing something you can do sustainably for a long period of time. So the keys are, we want single ingredient, non-processed foods, okay? It's really hard to overeat single ingredient foods. High quality meats, lean meats. We want a protein at every meal, generally a fistful of protein, a fistful of vegetables, and then the amount of carbs are going to depend basically on how active you are and what you have going on, maybe the time of year, if you're into seasonal eating. But those are all real, details that are nuanced according to the person. But in general, we want to eat a protein and some vegetables, a little bit of starch at every single meal. I really like the vertical diet as a starting point because it's so great. And my favorite protein sources, of course, are like lean meats, like steak, chicken, fish, seafood. Those are my favorite protein sources. Now, the key is you always want to have food available to you. I like to batch cook, either using a rice cooker or a pressure cooker, having things cooked already in advance, having a Tupperware container full of chicken breasts or lean hamburger patties or lean steak in the fridge. So if you get hungry, you can just grab, a piece of chicken breast, have an apple. I also really like this Ninja Crisper. I use this a lot. It's an air fryer. And then it has a Tupperware container as the bottom. So you just put this on top, you plug it in, and you hit the button and go. And it comes with a bigger container as well that you can cook more things in. And basically, you just put when you're done, if you don't eat everything in the Tupperware, you just put the container lid on and you put it in the fridge. So it's right there. So most people will be flying around. They're really busy. They don't have any time to cook. So we always want to pre-make. I recommend people make their food for the week or a couple days in advance. There's plenty of great meal services out there. Like I mentioned, the Vertical Diet, Stan Efferding has a verticaldiet.com has a great meal service. There's plenty of great meal services. You can go to, a lot of grocery stores have pre-made decent meals that have, a protein, a little bit of starch, and a vegetable. So get yourself ahead of the curve, pre-planned, so you're not scrambling around. And then, of course, if you have to eat out, if you get, even McDonald's has scrambled eggs. You can go to McDonald's and get some scrambled eggs. You have a couple pieces of bacon. Even a sausage egg McMuffin is not terrible for you. There's nothing wrong with having a sausage and egg muffin and a bottle of water for breakfast if you're on the run. You can even add extra eggs to it. I'll do that every once in a while if I'm on the run. Things like Jimmy John, so that wrapped in lettuce. You can go to Five Guys, get it wrapped in lettuce. But even if you're on the run, having a burger isn't that big a deal every once in a while. But there's plenty of places you can go, Chipotle, where you get decent food. The biggest thing is filling up on real food, lots of protein, so you're not running around, snacking on chips and all sorts of, little things that you just can't stop. You eat more chips, you want to eat more chips. And of course, having all this stuff planned out in advance is going to make it so you're not just, trying to eat whatever's available. And then also, eating a little bit more on the days you train hard and eating a little bit less on the days you don't train hard. So those are some simple, the more I do this, the more I realize the simpler we make it for people, and even for myself, the easier it's going to be to adhere to habits and be consistent and actually do it. And most people don't get any results because they overcomplicate things and they don't do it. So my big takeaways from this is cook in advance, keep it simple. Fistful of protein, fistful of vegetables, fistful of carbs is a great place to start for most people. Actually take the time to sit down, chew your food, and eat. That's very important as well. And just keep it to real whole foods. And another little tip before I let you go here, if you have a sweet tooth, you can do things like I would take like frozen blueberries, some Cool Whip, and maybe throw a scoop of protein powder in there, mix that up into like a little dessert, eat that instead of just eating, like regular ice cream or something along those lines. There's plenty of great protein powder ice cream recipes out there, so that if you do have a sweet tooth, or if you do want to have a little bit of something, like every once in a while, I like to have a piece of carrot cake. I'll have it after I lift. I'll make sure it's after a lifting session. I'm really insulin sensitive. It'll boost my blood sugar, so I'll do things like that maybe once or twice a week, have a little something like that, maybe a cherry turnover or something like that after I lift weights. So those are all things so you can kind of keep yourself sane, because you don't want to be ultra strict, because you want to basically eat in a way that you can do consistently for the rest of your life. You don't want to be so strict that you go insane. And most people don't need to be that strict. They need to be about 80-20 to get where they want to be, which is most people just want to look good and feel good. So there's a few thoughts for you today. I want to keep it simple. Of course, I've got my men's and women's community, Vitality Brotherhood, Vitality Sisterhood, that you can join if you go to vitalitybrotherhood.com. I'll be happy to see you in there. I can answer more questions. And really, it comes up to you. It comes down to you. Like, you know, what are your goals? Obviously, if you want to be walking around with a six pack, which for most people, it's just going to be too much trouble, effort. And honestly, most people don't feel good walking around ultra ripped. And for a lot of people, it's going to be expensive, you know, because you're going to have to do some things to stay that lean. Most people can't run around that lean feeling good. It depends on what you want to do. If you just want to look good naked, that looks totally different than if you want to walk around ripped. So you have to find what's best for you, your lifestyle, your comfort level, and what's sustainable for you. So happy to answer questions, walk you through all that, and help you figure out what's best for you. But for health and longevity, you know, the formula is basically walk outside 3 times a day, get the lights off at night, get your morning sun, eat a protein at every meal, lift 2 to 3 days a week, be active, walk, play something like tennis or pickleball, golf, something like that where you're getting outside and moving around, have community, and that's basically it. You just want to look good and feel good. That's basically the formula. It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. It's just that our modern life has kind of pulled us away from that. So have yourself a great day. We'll see you again.